All right, hello everyone. I'm Aussie Expat, and it is now 2025, and it's time for a new generation of webcams, and we're going to review them. Okay, so I did one of these a couple of years ago with the then generation of webcams, and I came up with the conclusion that going from my C920 pictured over here, that the Kaio Pro was better, and it was, and it is little weak on its focus in terms of it was very slow to focus, but it had better image quality in all circumstances. But the let's take a look C920 in close up. The biggest upgrade is actually lighting. So under normal levels of lighting, actually this is slightly better than normal. This actually let's turn off all the lights for a second. Alexa, turn off webcam. So not all. Alexa, turn off webcam. There we go. So this is just standard office overhead lighting, and you can see it's very noisy now on the C920. On the Kaio Pro, it's much better, but you still get a lot of noise. What you really needed was more lighting. And just so we can see with the new webcams in there, we now have the Link2 and Tiny2, and they have much bigger processors. So this isn't a super pleasing look, but we don't have like the straight up noise of the C920. So even the C920 improves a lot when you just get, some, $5 Home Depot clamp-ons and, a fluorescent light in the corner. Alexa, turn on plug. Alexa, turn on webcam. So getting a little bit of fill and lighting, the C920 can perform admirably well, and probably once you're over zoom, you're probably at, 70th percentile in terms of quality compared to what's available now. The new kids on the block, woof, wow. Like just in my eyes, it's just amazingly better. We now have the Insta360 Link2 in the second generation of their product, and the Obsbot Tiny2. I'm not sure if there was actually a first gen, although the first gen I think might have been like a professional version or something. So anyway, this is a new generation worth looking at, and they feature for the Obsbot Tiny2 a 1/2 inch sensor, so a real quality sensor. Because if we went back to the Kaio Pro, Razer Kaio Pro, it was better because it had a better sensor, but it was still like a security camera sensor. It wasn't for any, for pleasing purposes. And we have the Insta360 Link 2. Putting these all up side by side, you can see we don't really need to talk about the C920 anymore. As I said, if you just want a static camera, Kaio Pro is good. There's even a new Link 2C or something like that where it's a static camera. So the thing about the Tiny2 and Link 2, they're all like gimbal cameras with AI tracking. Just to speak on that, I think it's an upgrade. I'm not going back to one without. I thought, why do I really need that AI tracking? No, it does help. It helps you keep framed in the center of the image. If you have a sit-stand desk, it's just nicer than, constantly adjusting the physical camera with these new gimbal cameras. I think it's just a lot better. And then they also have a lot more, much better in terms of focus just overall. So let's get rid of the C920. So going into this review, as I hit the record button, I still don't quite know what to recommend between these two. First off the bat, the Link 2, I'll just say this, out of the gate, they're both very pleasing, except for the Insta360 Link 2. I think it's just overcooked in terms of its sharpness. It's just very fake. It's just overdone. So let me adjust that down. So that's the one thing that I'll be, making sure that I adjust down. Let me see. View effects. Yeah, it's under effects. And then I'll bring the sharpness down to like 30%. Yeah, it feels okay about there. Maybe it's still a little overcooked. Look, I don't like playing with settings. I really don't. But honestly, the default sharpness on the Link 2 was so high, it was a degradation of visual quality in my opinion, because I can see jaggies and stuff. It's like the camera's not doing that. Okay, going back to both, I actually printed the return label for the Tiny 2 because of focus issues. So focus is very important. If you're very high quality like this, any misalignment of focus is going to be very visible. And I found just that Tiny 2 wouldn't actually lock onto my face very often. What I'm finding now is maybe it was of software or with a change of background. I used to have a much more clutter behind me, and I found it sort of locking onto focus onto things behind me. And after I cleared up the environment, the Tiny 2 doesn't seem to be having any focus problems at all. As I say that, I don't think it quite... I think it's choosing between the pattern behind me and my face. So it's more that... Yeah, I think the Tiny 2 can be thrown off. And if you're in an environment where the Tiny 2 just isn't working, it's not locking onto your face, that focus is just not working, it's not working. Just return it. Go for the Link2. I think once you send this through a compressor, over Zoom and stuff, you're not going to see what I think is the superior image quality of the Tiny 2. If it's not apparent to you in this video, I think the Tiny 2 is delivering a really, really nice image quality. White balance wise, the Tiny 2 is more accurate. Link 2's much brighter. I think some people might prefer that, but it's not accurate, and accuracy isn't everything. You can like what you like. I think that so for example, going back to the C920, this in general tends to be overexposed. You lose a lot of detail and things that are bright, like this is like completely blown out over here. So you can like what you like. I actually like sort of the slightly more overexposed aspect of the C920. It's better than it being like straight up dark. So, between all of them, I would say, Tiny 2's delivering better raw image quality, and out of the box, it's a little bit better. It doesn't have that over sharpness stuff. The one thing, whether or not between the two is really the focus. So that's it for image quality. If the Tiny 2 is in focus, it's better than the Link 2 noticeably. Noticeable after compression, I don't know, but it is just looking at just raw inputs, it's better. It's the color of my hair is more natural in the Tiny 2, and you can see like individual grains in there. I think just overall it's got a lot more to work with. It's got that 1/2-inch sensor. But really, that's only part of the story. As I said, focus can throw you off. The other one is tracking. Now, I found overall tracking on both of them is pretty comparable. I'm not losing tracking, sort of stuff like that. I find that both sort of retrack in almost imperceptibly the same way. It's a relatively pleasing way. I do like it overall, as I said, for work, because that way I'm always centered and I'm not just a pair of eyeballs at the bottom of your screen or something like that, like some of my coworkers sometimes. So I would never move back to a non-gimbaled one. I have a sit-stand desk. Sometimes I'm leaning back, or I'm going around the side here or something like that. Just minor things, and I don't need to... I prefer to have a well-composed spot because I want to focus on communicating with my coworker and not focus on, recomposition, stuff like that. So definitely they're both very good. I don't think there's much of a difference between the two in terms of the tracking. Just overall, the software, the way they're presented, the software is very different in each one, but no real significant issues in terms of getting what I want done. Something I do is do watch streams, and sometimes I might present something to the camera. And I did find the Tiny 2 out of the box was doing wacky things. So I'd present something to the camera, and then it would just the viewfinder would just shoot straight up and just like, what the hell is going on? It's just trying to find my face in the ceiling. And the Link2 just did a better job. It would just sort of pause there. It wouldn't go hunting around too much for my face to try find it. So let's take a quick look. So I'm going to show this to the Tiny 2 quickly. So I'm trying to get the whole thing in frame. There we go. All right, Tiny 2 is okay. It's not trying to shoot off into space. It is sort of having second guesses on the focus there, but it's doing okay. Take me away. Let's put the thing in front of it again. Okay, that's a reasonably pleasurable presentation. Okay, as I said before, I did all the updates and whatever's changed. It was just shooting up to the screen as soon as it could. So let's try show a watch to it. Tiny 2. Oh, it's shooting up around. It's sort of second guessing. It works. It works. You know, it's certainly faster at doing that tracking and focusing than the Kaio Pro was, right? And including the C920. C920 is not that quick, and it's horrible at close up anyway. All right, let's show this to the Link2. All right, Link2. You're looking at my little statue here. Not bad, not bad. And it's pretty natural. Go back. Very nice. Very nice, Link2. Now let's see the watch. Wow, it's a little dramatic. That's nice. But it holds very well. So I'd say for presentations, there's still an advantage to the Link2. Let's see the Tiny 2. You gonna zoom in for me? Not bad. Not bad. But I do the Link2, and the Link2, it loves it. Zooms in a little bit. Oh, looking good. I'm wondering actually if it thinks my watch is a face, and that's why it's zooming in. It's like, I've picked up a... Go back, Link2, go back. So that's okay. It works. Let's make sure it wasn't just like face tracking. Yeah, I'm guessing it was like face tracking my watch because it's not trying to zoom in on the on this statue as much. But yeah, pretty comparable experiences. Oh, come on, Tiny 2, you can do it. Oh, Tiny 2 second guessing, doesn't want to show it. So yeah, I'd say if that sort of that close-up presentation mode is important to you, then the software on the Insta360 Link2 is still a little better. Tiny 2 is acceptable. So that's probably the only differentiator left. I think I'd probably just turn off AI auto tracking and just get it to lock in on the damn object potentially. And I think there's even maybe a presentation mode down the line. We'll see. So we'll see. I think that my choice in this round, just for image quality, is the Tiny 2. Things can change for the better, clearly. So I actually printed the return label out for the Tiny 2 because of the issues around focus and looking to the sky when I presented an object. But now both of those issues seem to have gone away. I'm guessing the tracking one is related to software updates, and the one with respect to focus was because I had some things in the background here that it was focusing on instead. So yeah, definitely get a Tiny 2. The way I'd go for it is I'd get the Tiny 2. If it works for you, keep it. If you're finding there's focus problems, tracking problems, go the Link2. There's a solution for you between these two. But in ideal circumstances, the Tiny 2 is better. All right. Yeah, just to clarify, this is not a paid review, no shill service here. I bought both of these cameras with my own money. Although I'll probably return the one I don't like. I think that's fair. And until next time, see you around.